I might borrow one of these.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, I've written a petition, a kids' petition against the Badgery's Creek Airport. Because
what's wrong with Badgery's Creek Airport?
Well, it's just going to affect the Blue Mountains in a lot of ways, and the kids are going to be the ones who are going to be living with the effects. And no, they haven't done any research on how it's going to affect us health-wise and environmentally, and it's just not a good idea.
Go!
Western Sydney Airport is going to bring terrible lives to all the residents here. We'll have pollution, water pollution, air pollution, noise pollution, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
There we go. I'm going to get all these cars. Don't need an address. You don't just need an address to help.
Show me that you've got one. Lovely.
If you've got a ticket, you can go down to door 2. You'll get just as good a seat that way.
Thank you very much. Thanks, gentlemen. Thank you.
Together to protect the way of life for this community, a community that acceptable outcome can be achieved in finalising the Western Sydney Airport flight pass. Able to attend tonight's meeting, I made a long-standing commitment at a local school's award. I have grave concerns for the impacts on the World Heritage Listed National Park.
That just trashes everything. It's the last wild river, the Gross Valley for us. Our Australians have worked up to their responsibilities and their sorry, no worries.
The next speaker is someone you may...
Heritage area must receive the approval of the Federal Minister for the World Heritage Area at the moment. Is a strategic plan, impact of aircraft, but this needs to be reviewed and made stronger and more extensive controls applied. Use of World Heritage as the Abbott government has been in the past.
Thank you very much.
Now, having those planes go overhead, that just trashes everything. It was the last wild river, the Grose Valley, for us. We thought it had protection from national parks, we thought it had extra protection from the World Heritage Area, but it seems that if this proposal goes ahead, it's just trashed the last bit of our country. Now, we're the people that showed Governor Phillip where the damn water was. Yeah, what a mistake that was.
This EIS is most extraordinarily botched and disappointing and utterly unsatisfactory.
Research shows a direct link between noise pollution and its negative impact on learning. It can cause children to read more slowly, reduces their performance in tests like the HSC, causes developmental delays, and it interferes with children's motivation, memory, language, attentiveness, concentration, and speech. In particular, aircraft noise also causes children to have elevated blood pressure, increased stress hormones, strokes, and heart disease. Children are more at risk from air pollutants and breathe in double the amount of air from adults. We already have high asthmatic rates, and toxic aircraft emissions will cause increased lung and respiratory problems.
So you're really getting a significant amount of noise for those 10 seconds that aeroplane passes overhead. And that has not been considered in any way mitigated by the EIS.
The case against a second airport in Western Sydney is about much more than noisy flight paths and protecting the environment. It is about what sort of a society we want Australia to be. What is our vision for the future? Are we to be a modern, forward-looking society taking advantage of innovative new technology and new transport systems such as high-speed rail? To reduce our carbon footprint? Or are we to continue to rely on last century fossil fuel driven technology and transport, which will leave us lagging behind the rest of the world? That is the question that this campaign asks, and that is the question that will take the Blue Mountains from an iconic Australian attraction on the tourist map and put us centre stage on the political map as we take this issue to the Australian people. Will the lucky country become the stupid country that misses the boat when it comes to the new employment opportunities that are opening up as the rest of the world charges ahead with innovative schemes to replace fossil fuel and transport networks with alternative sources of energy production and transportation? Will we be known as the country that trashes a World Heritage Area by building an airport, and an unnecessary airport at that, on its doorstep? The campaign to protect the environment and preserve the quality of life in the Blue Mountains asks a very big question. It asks, where is Australia heading when it comes to creating a dynamic and productive low-carbon economy and a healthy environment for us all to live?
That this airport is dumping on the Blue Mountains, is dumping on the people of Western Sydney, and must not go ahead. The point's just been made. It can be a key issue in this election campaign. It's robbing money from infrastructure that is badly needed. We do not need this project under any circumstances.
As a community, I believe that our actions over the last 2 months and our response to the EIS show that no government can take us for granted. Those of you who are here tonight who've been involved in the campaign to date, you know what you've done. And if this government thinks that the deadline for the EIS marks the end of our opposition, they don't know us, they don't know the Blue Mountains.
Thank you.
The Upper Blue Mountains flight path is horrific. It will impact the upper mountains. It doesn't kick in till...
Look, folks, I want to address the whole issue of the contempt with which this community has been held by the federal government and their boffins. 15 years ago, that's all, 15 years ago, it was knocked on the head. The Howard government, for a host of reasons, said it was no good. In that 15 years, the boffins and the governments have sat on their hands. They thought of no creative solutions about Western Sydney's transport problems, no futuristic things like high-speed rail. They sat on their hands and waited for the propitious political moment to come along. And now all of a sudden they're saying, oh, we're going to actually, we need to consult you. We're going to consult you in this EIS. We're going to hear you now. Well, I'm going to consult you right now. I'm going to ask you, and I want you to answer loud and clear. Do you accept this airport as it is presently configured to be built at Badgery's Creek? No. Can you be a bit clearer?
I think we all agree that the proposed Western Sydney Airport is an inappropriate, enormously costly mistake that is highly unlikely to succeed. Make Council's objections count by highlighting all compelling arguments. I urge all councillors here to heed this information presented and amend Council's submissions accordingly. Oppose the Western Sydney Airport.
Thank you.
Support high-speed rail initiatives. You know it makes sense.
I love our Blue Mountains community, and it is under siege. As a community, we have a moral obligation to protect and preserve our societal values, environment, health and amenity. Actually, that's the role of government, but they have a history of making pretty bad decisions, and this one's an absolute whopper. Don't forget though, community were the people that stopped the Franklin River from being dammed. It was community that stopped the destruction of the Rocks precinct in Sydney Cove, and it was community that stopped the Badgery Creek Airport in 1998. The Southwest Sydney Basin has got to be the dumbest place in the world for an airport.
I've found that the consensus is that a Boeing 737 at 1850, not 1300, but 1850 metres, produces 90 decibels of sound. Not 60, but 90. Not much of a difference, only 50% difference. No, because of the log scale, that difference will be 8 times louder than they're claiming. It will be, rather than conversational level, it will be as loud as a motorcycle at 7.5 metres or a lawnmower. Believe me, when a plane comes over, you won't hear your neighbour mowing their lawn. And what is the government trying to hide?
The government's EIS is dishonest with respect to noise in so many ways. I'll go into details, not here. The actual probable noise levels would be 100 times larger than what they are reporting in the EIS.
As you all know, the Australian government released that draft EIS in mid-October. And as you all know, that draft EIS is supposed to look at potential impacts on the community and the environment. The problem is, it doesn't. It simply doesn't do what it was meant to do. Instead, as Bob Debus said tonight, it reads as a catalogue of errors. Is this just another captain's call that should go the way of knights and dames, I wonder? This is sloppy, and it shows, frankly, a complete disregard for you and for the rest of the people in Western Sydney. Why should one Sydney airport bear the burden of a curfew and not another? Tourism, surprisingly, one operator thinks that I'm a socialist, and they're right, is one of our largest industries, and it is the economic powerhouse of this region. It is the lifeblood of our small businesses too. The draft EIS is grossly inadequate, considering that the Western Sydney Airport is the most significant proposal affecting the livability of Western Sydney for the next century. We say this: the Minister for the Environment should reject the draft EIS, and as a result, this airport should not be approved. Look, the emotion in the room tonight was far beyond what I expected. The feeling was electric. The room was unanimous. Nobody wants this airport
Everybody's concerned about the World Heritage Area. The public speakers were magnificent. I'm so proud of this community, but far beyond what I expected.
Big message to government that they're going to have a fight on their hands.
They've got a huge fight on their hands. One of the things about the people of the Blue Mountains is that we're very good at fighting. We're very good at coming together. You know, concentrating those flights over us was picking the wrong town to have a blue with. You can't fight City Hall. You can't fight this City Hall. We're not going to take it.
Yes, and the standard of the EIS, as far as you're concerned, it's not up to it.
It's sloppy. It's simply a sloppy document that misses all of the key points you would expect an EIS to cover for an airport. Not acceptable, not respectful of the community of the Blue Mountains and Western Sydney. You could not base a decision on that document.
Just going to have to lump it.
They lost before, they can lose again. That's the bottom line. Unfortunately, this battle won't be fought and won on the basis of logic. It'll be fought and won on the basis of politics. And there's some marginal seat MPs out here that are going to start getting very, very nervous by the time we're finished with them.